In today's episode, I'm going to talk about something really near and dear to me, which is the power of using writing as a tool for healing with no agenda, no purpose, no goal of publication, just writing to write and see what shows up. I'm super excited you're here. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Written Compass. Dr. Shayna V here. I'm excited to be with you today. And today I'm going to talk about something that's really near and dear to me. It's part of why I love talking about writing so much and supporting people with writing so much. I'm already smiling just as I say writing over and over and over again. And it's something that I'm really committed to as a part of the many things that we do. My big, broad company, Synergy Wellness Group, LLC, but then also Synergy Publishing Group, and just the different arms and branches of our work is that we are really committed to using writing as a tool for healing. And the reason I believe in it so much is I myself have witnessed and been someone who's used writing to just be with myself and be with my thoughts. I have memories going way back of having a journal when I was as young as elementary school age, and have just always found it to be, words are just so powerful. But when we think of it as this internal tool to help us, and we can use the external of pen and paper, a daybook, a journal, even a computer, or even our phones, or whatever space you like to use to write, it just becomes this really interesting inside out recursive kind of support mechanism. And so I want to talk about that today. I'm sure we've all heard about the importance of journaling, but I want to kind of dive in, like, what is really happening when you write in a journal? And you'll hear me kind of interchange daybook and journal. The reason for this is sometimes the J word, the journal word, brings on a certain connotation. When I used to teach in high school and in the university setting, I would strategically use the word daybook versus journal. And actually, with several of my colleagues, published a book all about the daybooks, thinking out loud on paper. It's still available, and a lot of people, a lot of teachers, and even just other people who like to write find it a really valuable resource. So go check it out. It's available everywhere you get books. But I would intentionally not always use the word journal, because journal implies that you've got to be very personal and you've got to write your emotions. And in a classroom setting, I didn't want anyone to feel like that's what they had to do in that space. So we called it a daybook, which has a long, old history in kind of England, actually, where people would just capture things, capture recipes, prayers, letters, notes from people, things they wanted to remember, family information. It was kind of what we call in the Thinking Out Loud book of the kitchen junk drawer. And actually, Ralph Fletcher coined that term of, we've all got that kitchen junk drawer, right? Or that junk drawer in our house where we don't really know what's in there, but if I came over and was like, hey, let me clean out this drawer, you would like karate chop my hand off, because there's important stuff in there. We don't really know what it is, but it ain't going anywhere. We need it. We don't know when we're going to need it, but it's that place where I go and I'm like, oh, I need a paperclip, and it's there. I need a pencil, and it's there. I need that menu that I can never find, and it's there, right? I need that duct tape. Like, it's that place. And so I like to think of it, this writing space as, and writing as a tool for healing, as a way to kind of capture all the things. So if journal works for you, great. If daybook works better, that's great too. I'll probably interchange them as I'm talking today. So I want to kind of break down, like, what is really going on when we use writing as a tool for ourselves, as a tool on our healing journey, on our connection, personal growth, just keeping up with ourselves kind of process. What is actually happening with that? So one of the things is, it is literally just a space for you. And this sounds like, okay, yeah, duh, great, got it, Shayna, that sounds awesome. But I want to slow down around that. How often do you get a space just for you? How often do you have a moment that isn't in a place where someone could come in at any time and interrupt and get your attention, whether that be a coworker, a family member, a kiddo, a dog, an animal, How often do you have that? I'm going to guess it's not that often. So when you develop a practice and use writing as a tool for you, as a tool for healing, you're really activating and carving out, I'm kind of drawing a bubble around myself, a space just for you. This is the dedicated space right now that I get to go and be with myself, just myself, right? It's intentional. It's a practice. It's something that we can come back to over and over and over again. That's why I always, when I practice this, I use what I call a daybook, and I use the same one until I go through all the pages. So I don't typically bounce around, although sometimes if I'm traveling, it happens. But listen, I am not afraid to tear out a page and glue it into my daybook. We can talk about glue sticks and the fun that we have with those another day, but this is really a place I commit to. So I get my new daybook, and I'm not fancy with them. I will often have a mead composition, cow covered looking notebook. It doesn't need to be fancy for me. The one I have right now is actually kind of pretty, but that's because someone gave it to me. But I have a dedicated space. So when I am going to do this work, I go to that space, and it's a place going to me. It's a way for me to go to me. So it's a space just for you. So that's happening when you are journaling, is you're coming to yourself. You're meeting yourself. It's almost like you're in that journal, that daybook, and you are in yourself, and they're coming together to have a sit, have a moment, right? And as you can hear me talking about it, I'm slowing my voice down because this is also a place to slow down. Writing literally takes some time. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. This writing as a tool for healing doesn't need to be, it can be 2 minutes and some powerful stuff can happen. It can be 30 minutes and some equally powerful stuff can happen. But it's an opportunity to slow down when I do recommend this being a pen to paper, pencil to paper opportunity when you're using writing in this way. It does force us to slow down. If you're like me, I can type pretty fast, and I don't have great handwriting when it comes to pen or pencil on paper. So if I ever want to read this again and go back to it, I need to slow down. And again, this is part of a space just for you, is that slowing down process. We get to connect to our body. We get to breathe. And we get to just be. And in the hustle and grind of the world, it's really easy to not have a lot of time to slow down. So I get curious around where you can create this space and how you can allow yourself to slow down for just a few minutes to be with you. And what might show up, what might be the benefit of you slowing down and just being with you for a moment. So that's something that happens. The other thing is, I was actually kind of doing a little research and reading up a little bit on this, and really cool article. It'll be linked in the show notes for the International Association for Journal Writing. Yes, there's an International Association for Journal Writing. A cool article by Nicole Natras. I hope I'm saying her last name right. Creative Journaling for Self-Care. She talks about how journaling, doing this, having this space just for you, slowing down, allows you to tap into what she labels, quote, as intuition, knowledge, and imagination. It allows you connect with those deeper parts of you, those parts that are just knowing, the ones that you get those gut hits, that part of you that tells you what the next step is. It allows you to remember what you know, to develop and get evidence. I have a part in the back of my daybook. I always go about 10 or so pages in to do some things that I know, okay, I'm tracking some stuff in the back here. And one of the things I put in the back is kind of what I call sort of receipts for life, or evidence of when I trusted myself and it worked out, celebrations, things that I want to remember. And so it reminds me, I know stuff. You know stuff. Did you know stuff? I know that sounds silly, but we sometimes are walking through life feeling like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how this is going to work out. And there can be some power in that, like unknowing, but it's also, you know what? You do know stuff. You've done this before. Maybe it looked different. Maybe it was a different circumstance, but there's something really powerful in tapping into that intuitive, knowledgeable part of you. And then I love the third one of tapping into imagination. So journaling and writing, daybooking allows that creative part of you, that part of you that dreams and schemes. I always put my hand on my heart because that's where that lives in me. It allows space for that to come forward. It allows for you to shift into how you want to feel and what you want to create, and being really imaginative in that, and thinking big thoughts and dreaming big dreams and just writing down whatever you want because it's just a space for you. The other powerful thing that's happening when we are using writing as a tool for healing is it's a tool of reflection. And I've done episodes on the power of reflection, the power of looking back, whether you look back just a few minutes or just a few hours or just a few days, months, years, it doesn't matter. But it's an opportunity to reflect and really look at what is working for you and what is not, whether that be in life, in relationships, in business. What is working for you and what is not? What is serving you and supporting you right now? And maybe what is not. And when we slow down, we create that space for ourselves. We tap in through writing into our intuition, our knowledge, our imagination. We can really have this like step away conversation with ourselves and be a little bit more reflective on what is the opportunity here. What am I doing that's no longer serving me or supporting me? What do I need to let go of? What do I need to get support with? What do I need to add? All of those things can happen when we're using writing as a reflective tool and using it as a tool for healing. Another thing that beautiful article shared that I really love, the creative journaling for self-care, was the journal or the daybook or the space that you create just for you to do writing is a soft place to land and sit with yourself. I'm going to say it again, a soft place to land. Sometimes when we're in constant communication with other humans, we kind of have to gird our loins, right? We're going to go into battle, or we're going to go have a tough conversation, or even if it's a lighthearted, fun situation, there's still some, okay, I need to get ready for this. And that might sometimes feel a little hard or harsh. And when it's something that unless you choose to, no one's going to read. Heck, I don't even go back and reread my journals or daybooks half the time. It's a really soft place. It's a really warm and welcoming place to land and just sit with yourself. So I love the idea of writing as a tool for creating a soft place to land, because so many times in life, it's pretty hard. And what if you created this soft place for you that you knew you could always go to? So when we think about all the amazing things that are happening when we're using writing as a tool for healing, when we're journaling, when we're daybooking, when we're jotting things down, it's really, really fun and really, really powerful. And even if it's just a few minutes here and there, it doesn't have to be, it gets to be whatever you want it to be. That's the other thing I love when we're using writing just for ourselves. It gets to be whatever I want it to be. And I don't have to shame or guilt myself. It doesn't need to be another to-do list thing. It's something to support me. And if it's not going to support me that day, I let it go. And that's okay. I don't put a lot of judgment on it. And that is why I want to make sure you all know I actually created a writing as healing community. It's a Facebook community. And I decided at the end of last year, I really wanted a place for people who are not necessarily working on any specific writing project. They're not necessarily writing a book or, writing for publication in any way, shape, or form. I wanted a place where we could just have a little loving check-in and accountability and a little bit of support around just using writing as a tool to support ourselves and support our dreams or support our relationships, whatever the case may be. So I created this awesome group. And it's so, so cool to see what has shown up as a result. So each week, just to give you a sense of what it's like in there, I create kind of a Monday inspiration sort of opportunity. It might be a quote, it might be an image, it might just be something I'm thinking about. And then at the end of the week, we do kind of a reflection, celebration, that sort of thing. And recently, one of the community members wrote how they were celebrating their devotion to themselves and the practice of being visible and using writing as a tool to support them. And I thought that was just amazing. And then just actually today, as I was preparing for the podcast, our inspiration kind of post was like, oh my goodness, we're in a new month, do some reflecting. What are you letting go of? in the past week, month, year, what are you calling in? And someone, was willing to share that they were letting go of feelings of inadequacy, letting go of not doing or being, bringing more confidence, acceptance of things as they are in the moment, and trusting the process. And they went on to just dive deeper into that. And again, that probably took them 30 seconds to a minute and a half to write, but there was a little moment, a little space for themselves to just connect and write. Someone else said, that this post really inspired them to realize they need to do a lot of reflection and not sure what to be received from it, but they're just sharing and putting it out there. So again, writing can really be this way to notice yourself, connect with yourself, and open space for what gets to happen after. So I want to make sure if joining that community feels really good for you, we've got a little something special for Written Compass podcast community. You can head to shanahartman.com/writing as healing. This link will be in the show notes. And if you use code Kickstarter, this is a paid community, but there's a special rate that we have for you if you use code Kickstarter. Normally it's $77 for the year to have access, and we want to give it to you. I want to give it to you for just $27 for an entire year of access to this community, to having space held for you, to have a soft place to land, to encourage you to create your own space for that, and just see what gets to show up with no agenda. And I don't know about you, but I don't have too many spaces where there's like no plan, no outcome, no thing that I'm goaling towards or have to do. So that is available to you. We'll have the link in the show notes, shanahartman.com/writing as healing. Use code Kickstarter to get that special rate. And I can't wait to hear what lands for you as you start to explore writing as a tool for healing. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Written Compass. If you are enjoying this content, do me a favor and go and review the podcast. This allows me to share and get these messages out to the people who really need them, who we want to read their books in the future. You can also go and share your thoughts and tag me at ShanaHartman_ on Instagram. Again, this is just a way for us to get connected and share the writing love. And if you know that you are ready to write your book, that message that's been burning inside of you for a long time, then I want to talk to you. My team and I want to talk to you. Head on over to shanahartman.com and click Work with Us. From there, you'll see an application to explore and see if writing your book is your next best step.